Hi, I'm Jason Hurtis. Today we're going to be talking about improving safety and productivity. As the construction industry continues to change, safety practices remain a priority for any contractor. But a lot of times they forget that safety is related to productivity. Productivity is related to safety. So today we're going to take a deeper dive into both. The way that we're going to do that is we're going to talk about some machine technologies that can improve safety as well as productivity. We're going to review a case study or a site evaluation that's clearly going to show you the linkage between safety and a production environment. Then we're going to give you an Efence demonstration on an excavator that will show you how we can limit the movement of an excavator so it stays in a given work zone to protect the operator as well as the machine. We're going to do all of this using Caterpillar experts, the men and women of Caterpillar that spend the majority of their time in the field working with you, working through your pains to drive your successes. So come with me, let's get started. Hey, today we're going to be talking about a suite of technologies that can help you improve your production, efficiency, and most importantly, safety on the job site. The first technology we're going to be covering is called grade control technology, much like on the motor grader behind me. My first question, Lonnie, is do we have the right motor grader? Because I don't see any mass on this particular machine.
Yeah, that's an excellent question, Jason. So if we look at innovation over the years here at Caterpillar and our CAP product, specifically the motor grader, we went from nothing attached to the moldboard to putting these massive masts on with the antennas at the top when we added aftermarket grade control. And now you say, well, you're telling me it has 3D grade control, but where'd all that go?
Right, exactly. Where are the masts?
Exactly. So for many value drivers and benefits to you, the customer out there, we have taken the mast off the machine. They no longer are necessary because we've integrated that 3D grade control into the machine. So as you see right here to your right, Jason, is one of those 3D antennas. The second one is mounted on the roof of the cab.
So it does still have grade technology on it. I just don't have the mast. And at the end of the day, when the job is done, I don't need somebody to stand on the moldboard, climb up the machine, try to remove those expensive sensors and put them in the toolbox at the end of the day. So less chance for trips and falls trying to get the technology off so nobody takes it at night time.
Yeah, you're spot on, Jason. So a product that's been around a little bit longer within Caterpillar are the track type tractors, dozers. If you think when grade control first came out, again, first solution was aftermarket, fixed mast to the blade itself. Now, when you look at, say, the D6 or the D6XE with Cat Grade 3D integrated in the machine, you do not see any more of that onboard architecture. It's integrated in the machine with those antennas recessed into the cab.
Another advantage of grade technology is obviously accuracy, Lonnie. So the more accurate I am in cutting the trench or cutting the ditch or doing any type of finish grade, obviously that means less material coming to the job site. And what's the benefit from a safety standpoint of being more accurate, less material, less machines, less people?
Yeah, accuracy is key. So when we look at just material, every project that's bid out there, estimate and bid, there have a material yield. And one of the quickest ways to overrun on cost is to bring in more material. To your point, Jason, on what that means for safety is, I have additional hauling units on highway trucks coming in and off that job site, bringing in material. Now we have too much material. Now most likely I'm taking that material off. So something just as simple as material drives safety from the standpoint of we want just the right amount of material with the least amount of movement and interaction on the job site.
The second benefit obviously is precision. We hear a lot about stakeless job sites, don't need any surveying work done anymore. One, is that true? And two, what are the benefits of having a stakeless job site from a safety standpoint?
Yeah, Jason, spot on, as always. The bundles of grade hubs, the bundles of wood lath, those are things of the past unless traditional methods of construction are still taking place on your job site. There is no stakeless job site. Let me clarify, there's no stakeless job site. We still need control points, So while we've reduced stakes by a significant number, we still have to find our control points. From there, yes, the stakes have disappeared. Using GPS, we like to say golf ball size accuracy. You can even put UTS, Universal Total Station, on this machine to get millimeter accuracy. So that gets you to grade quicker. It significantly cuts the cost for construction layout and restaking the job.
So you still need some stakes on the job site. You don't need as many stakes as what you needed in the past, for example, which means that you have less people that are going to be around behind a piece of equipment, next to a piece of equipment, again improving the safety of the particular job site or the operator's safety as well as the machine safety, correct?
Yeah, you know, Jason, look at this. Let's say we have a job, we're in the earth moving segment of the project and we have bulk cut and fill. Say we have a 10-foot cut. How many times is that grade checker, which is in close proximity to the machine, out there pulling distances for those hinge points, whether it's top of slope, bottom of a ditch, edge of shoulder, pulling those distances, giving those paint marks usually to the operator for the operator to shoot to that grade, wipe them out, and redo it all over again.
Right.
Why don't I put all that information in this machine, empower that operator, remove that individual from the area of the machine, and do it a lot safer.
By using great technology, whether it's 2D, 2D advanced, or 3D, you get additional benefits of having less people on the job site. You don't need as many people staking it. As the myth that Lonnie just debunked, there is not a stakeless job site. You will still require some type of control points or some type of stakes for the particular operator or the operation, but you don't need as many, you don't need them as repeated as much. And the last benefit, again, is less material, less rework, less people coming to the job site, less trucks, mean less chances of an accident or an interference with the main operation. Lonnie, thank you for your time talking about grade technology. Let's move over to a compactor and talk about intelligent compaction and its benefits from a precision, accuracy, and safety standpoint. Lonnie, my first question is, what makes intelligent compaction intelligent?
Great question, Jason. You know, why isn't it just compaction? My answer to that is it makes the operator smarter. So think about a compactor running around on the job site, whether they're compacting aggregate or compacting a stiff clay, for example. Do they really know if they're achieving the material stiffness that they need, which correlates to density? Not necessarily. Now with intelligent compaction, which there are two types, CMV, compaction meter value, which is accelerometer based, or MDP, machine drive power, which measures the rolling resistance off the machine. CMV is commonly used in those granular soils, and the MDP, machine drive power, is used in those cohesive soils, where that material is getting compacted and you're getting a reading in your machine correlated back to a nuclear density gauge, so the operator knows if they've achieved the compaction targets that are in the specifications for the project.
So accuracy, precision, obviously less passes, you know that you're compacting to the rate that you need. Any safety aspects or any safety derivatives from using that technology?
Absolutely, Jason. You know, at Caterpillar, we do not only develop technologies to help you be more productive, more efficient, and more profitable, but also for you to be safer on your job site. So with that being said, fewer passes allows the machine to be out on the job site, less to get to those targeted compaction values.
Typically they're just going back and forth all day long, so that operator's always got to be paying attention behind them every 20 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet, depending on the run.
Absolutely. Now usually with more passes, you broke over your Proctor curve, you're actually pulling those particles apart and you're doing more harm than good. And you can even drive water to the top. The real point in safety here and the advantage is when you have the quality control and the quality assurance inspectors out there constantly taking soil readings to check that material stiffness, to correlate it to compaction. Now you have removed the frequency or lessened the frequency that inspectors are out there on the job site trying to follow the compactors around. The reason being is you have that information in the cab. The operator knows between the intelligent compaction system what their soil stiffness is, and the real winner is when you get that 3D mapping on there, you also have your surface coverage to know you have covered all the areas. You paint the map green and it's a check me anywhere behind me.
So that also helps with if you have one spot that you missed and that's when the inspector goes to check, he fails the whole job even though it's only maybe a 1 foot section that you actually did miss.
Absolutely.
So using the mapping Like you said, turn it all green. Your screen's green, they can check anywhere and you should pass.
Compaction accounts for approximately 5% of your total cost when you look at earth moving. 5%. But I challenge you, what is the most important process? Is it excavating the material, dumping it, spreading it, or grading it, or compacting it? You're not going to get approved, you're not going to get paid until the compaction has met specification. These machines here will help you hit those targets quicker, safer, more productive, leading to greater profitability.
Lonnie, I think that wraps up intelligent compaction. Let's go ahead and move on to our next technology, payload. Lonnie, my very first question on a payload or payload system, commonly referred to as scales in the industry. Some people think that you need payload, others swear that you don't need payload. What's your opinion?
Yeah, so not only because I'm a huge proponent of any of the technologies that we develop, but to answer your question, Jason, yes, you do need payload for many different reasons. The first reason is safety. Payload provides safety. You may say, how's payload provide safety? Just knowing how much is going into a hauling unit. We are putting the right amount of material on a hauling unit, so we're not exceeding the braking capacity of that hauling unit. Think about an on-highway truck hauling a load of material. If it's overloaded, running down alongside your family, it is good to know that you have the right payload on that machine, that you do have the right braking effort. Also, as far as safety goes and component wear, if we're overloading our hauling units, that is very tough on the entire powertrain, especially that suspension.
In a quarry application, I usually hear the word recycle. When they're talking about trucks recycle, explain what that means and what do you care when you're talking about a payload system?
Yeah, so when we hear the word recycle, we may think, okay, there's old concrete coming in to crush at the plant, put up into material. Blue containers, you're talking about plastic bottles, right? So, no, in this case, what we're talking about is loading a truck, sending it up to the scale to weigh, and we find out that we're below payload target or we're above payload target, which is the one we're really concerned about, again, because of that safety. So recycling a truck is that truck going to the scale and coming right back down to the pile.
So payload helps you get to the target weight of the truck before it leaves. Eliminates recycle, which recycle is a truck that's already been loaded, that you've already spent time, money, operator experience on, coming back, jamming up the yard because he's got 4 or 5 other trucks to load, and here comes 2 more that have to get recycled.
Yeah, and let me share an example there, Jason, of recycle. So working with a contractor down in southern Texas here just about 3 months ago, and we stopped the scale house because what do you have to do? It's safety first. We have to check into the site. So check in the site and I write my name down and the scale attendant's there, and I said, excuse me, sir, just saw a truck leave the scale and head back to the pit. I said, about how often does that occur? You know, the chair goes back, the eyes roll back, and he says, about 1 out of every 2 trucks.
So 50% failure rate on target payload.
50% failure rate. How many trucks a day go through here on average? He said 200 to 300, so about a 250 average. I said, so 125 trucks a day don't pass go the first time. He said, yeah, that's exactly right. Today, their fleet of CAT 980 wheel loaders have CAT production measurement payload technology on them, 0 recycle.
We've talked a lot about payload on wheel loaders, payload in a quarry application. There's also a payload that's available on an excavator. So think of a dirt job site or a heavy highway job site. What's the benefits of payload on an excavator in that particular application?
Yeah, so in our lineup of CAT next generation excavators, one of the suites of integrated from the factory technology is payload. To your question, Jason, why? Well, it's very simple. Think of I'm out on a remote location, any construction location for that matter, how many times do you see a bridge scale on the site? Slim to none.
Only when the state police put it there.
Exactly, yeah. I have had them on my site when we were recycling and selling it back on the same project. Most commonly, there's no bridge scale on the site. There are scales now, they're integrated into the machine. So again, back to variations of material, variations in the loose density of that material, variations in the moisture. That weight is going up and down and all around. Why have the operator guess? Because, to Jason's point, if the authorities are sitting along the path with their scales, me as the operator, what am I going to do to make sure they're not overweight? I'm going to cut back a half a bucket. I'm going to underload. Now who's losing out? say you have 1 truck, 10 trucks, 50 trucks in that round, and you're shorting them 3 tons, 2 cubic yards every load, folks, that's real money.
Well, as we just discussed, adding technologies to the machines and to the job sites can definitely improve production and efficiency. With Lonnie's help, we talked about grade technology on a motor grader, intelligent compaction on a compactor, and payload on a wheel loader, of how those technologies can also improve the safety for the operator, safety of the machine, and safety of the job site. Hey, we all know that safety is important on a job site, so is production or productivity. Both are equally important to the employees and to the management. A lot of people forget that safety and productivity actually do go hand in hand. And to give you a real-life example of that, I'd like to talk about a case study where we partnered with a sand and gravel customer in Texas. We used our site evaluation services, visited the customer, did an overall job layout and efficiency measurement. We took that information that we learned and we started to introduce different things to improve their operation. Operator training. We trained all the operators on the excavators, the articulated trucks, the mid-sized and the large wheel loaders, on best practices, efficiency gains, how to set up their job site a little bit different to improve the safety aspects of it and also improve their efficiency. Then we went through and we monitored the machines for the next period of time. Do they have the right GET? Do they have the right size buckets? Could we gain more production and more efficiency by changing a bucket on an excavator or the GET on that excavator? Then we looked at the job site with those particular machines a little bit closer. Could we change the way that the job was set up? Could we change the way that their path was placed for the haul? Could we change the haul road itself? Could we cut out some grades? Could we widen the road in some spots? We made those changes and then we measured that efficiency for a period of time. At the end of a 12-month period, they were able to save over $258,000 in fuel alone. They were also able to reduce their accidents significantly. They improved their production by 22% in a 6-month period and 43% over the 12-month period. So again, do not overlook the importance of safety on the job site and production, and make sure that you understand that the two can go hand in hand and you need to focus on both to be the best that you can be. Safety is important on anyone's job site. There are certain safety features that can be embedded and included in standard equipment on numerous machines to help the operator in certain applications to improve their efficiency and again be more safe. Lonnie, you've talked about the Efence suite of technologies at Caterpillar before. I got to admit, I'm a little confused yet, and you brought us out to a job site. I keep looking for a fence and I'm not seeing one. So what is Efence?
Yeah, 2D Efence is Caterpillar's integrated suite of safety technology using the electronic architecture in the machine to give those safety characteristics to make your job overall safer and a lot less stressful for the operator.
What's included in Efence? Just it monitors the machine and fences it, or how does it work?
Very simple. You kind of think of geofencing. So in the suite of technologies of 2D Efence, it includes E-sealing, E-floor, E-swing, E-cab avoidance, and E-wall.
Whoa, 5 of them. You're going to have to break that down and make that a little bit simpler for me. So let's cover those one by one. If I have E-sealing, what does that mean and what does that do for my machine? And more importantly, how does that make the operator safe?
E-sealing keeps the front linkage, the boom, bucket, and stick, out of harm's way when it's working, for example, inside a building, maybe under an overhead power line or under a bridge overpass. These Efence features are set very simply in the monitor by the operator, and again, it controls the linkage of the machine on the front end, that boom, bucket, and stick, from coming into contact with the hazards, in this case, that are above the machine.
Okay, so that covers the ceiling. Let's go ahead and move in the same direction. What is E-floor?
E-floor, very simple and very comparable to E-ceiling, just in the opposite direction. Think of an underground utility example or application where we know, because we've surveyed and done our locate of our utilities, where there is, let's say, a buried fiber optic cable. Knowing the location of that utility, the operator can again store in the monitor a distance above or hover near the utility and store that location, and that will prevent, again, that front linkage from coming into contact with the underground utility. It may be a footing, a foundation, any object below ground that they want to make sure they don't come in contact with.
So ceiling is the top, floor is the bottom. You mentioned cab avoidance. What is that when you talk about Efence cab avoidance?
Cab avoidance keeps the work tool or the attachment, your bucket, your breaker, from coming into contact with the cab. Prior to next generation CAT excavators, you would be able to, in the right positioning of the linkage potentially in work tool, take a light off the front of the cab or come completely in contact with the cab. With the E-cab avoidance, you are putting an electronic fence around the cab to prevent it from becoming damaged by the work tool, again, through the electronic architecture that is controlling that front linkage.
Okay, so I can limit the ceiling, I can limit the floor, I can protect tools from coming into the actual cab or any of the structures. I also hear about E-wall. That's the same as cab avoidance, right?
Very similar, but again in the opposite direction. So as we talked about ceiling and floor being opposite, we talked about E-cab avoidance. We want to make sure we're also protecting what's out in front of us. So we call that E-wall. If that machine has walked up to a wall, a structure, any object in front of it, does not want to come in contact with it, operator can again, through the ease of use of the monitor, set those parameters and make sure that that machine only works inside that predefined work zone.
Well, we've covered 4 out of the 5. I think the last one you refer to as E-swing. And I think that's the easiest one for me to grasp, but talk us through what Efence swing means.
So an excavator is doing as much swinging left to right as it usually is digging with the boom, stick, and bucket, because it's loading trucks or casting its spoil materials adjacent to where it is excavating. The E-swing feature, again, a work area predefined by the operator, ease of use in the monitor again, to set a parameter to the right, parameter to the left. That defines that work area, and that machine will not enter outside that work area. A common example and application of this feature, being the E-swing, is let's say you're working on a road project alongside a run of barrier wall. Live traffic on the opposite side of where you're working, you can set that E-swing to ensure that the front linkage of this excavator will not swing out into live traffic.
Well, Lonnie just took us through the full Efence suite of features on the next-gen excavator. And basically think of it as an electronic fence or an electronic perimeter that's monitoring where that machine's at and controlling the movements of that machine. Whether it's up into the ceiling, down into the floor, or as the machine swings, or as the attachment's coming towards the cab. Again, it allows the operator to focus on other pieces of the job, increasing the operator efficiency from a safety standpoint, as well as the job site safety itself. When you think of safety upgrades, do you think big, like company-wide training, machine guarding, or do you think smaller, like keeping the ladders clean, clear of debris, the floor mats cleaned out? Both are great ideas, both are great initiatives and policies to have. What I'd like to do is cover a couple more. The first one I'd like to talk to you about is a rear view camera. Most of your cars and trucks in the market today have some type of rear view camera. Off-highway equipment, you can get the same rear view camera system. It's called the Work Area Vision System, or the WAVE system. You can get that to be set on in reverse only, or on all the time. It depends on your application and how you want to use it. You can run up to 4 cameras on the WAVE system, so rear, front, left, and right, for example, again, depending on your application. The next thing I'd like to talk to you about is seat belts. Everybody wears their seat belts into work. It's a given. It's laws in most states. As soon as they get out of their personal vehicle, get into the heavy equipment, they forget to put the seatbelt on. Now we have indicators in the cab that will beep at you, much like your car or truck, to remind the operator to put the seatbelt on. We also have different colored seat belts. If you look at our off-highway trucks, the shoulder belt will be bright orange, so you can easily see it from the ground. You can also get indicators through our VisionLink telematic system that will tell you as the owner or the operator or the foreman if the people are wearing their seat belts throughout the day. Last but not least, let's talk about mirrors and lights. Mirrors need to be adjusted for the operator. Some have adjustment inside the cab. Others may require two people to get that mirror properly adjusted. Make sure that they're adjusted for that operator, for that day, for that job. Make sure that they're clean, they're not cracked, and they're not broken. Next, lights. Equip the machine for lighting for the application. If you do a lot of night work, you might want to look at the high intensity or HID lighting packages, or you may want to simply add additional lights to cover up the blind spots. And again, the cab glass is important. Make sure they're clean in it. If you can't see through it, you can't see what's ahead of you. So make sure that they're clean in it. There's no cracks, chips, or debris on the windshield as well. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this quick tip.
More important than having the right machines on your job site is ensuring that your employees are equipped and properly fitted with the personal protective equipment they need to keep them safe. We're going to demonstrate and show you today the proper way to wear your safety equipment and the not so proper way to wear your safety equipment.
Lonnie, I got a note I was supposed to come see you as soon as I got in.
Man, thank you for coming to see me, Jason.
Got my gear on like you asked.
I see that. I was just going to say, thank you so much for coming to the job site, prepared properly with your personal protective equipment.
Yep, got everything on. Vest, boots, glasses, hat. I'm ready to go to work. Where do you want me today?
You're equipped head to toe, but I think before we head out to the site, we may want to consider some proper fitting techniques here. Let's start with the most important part, protecting that brain box on top there.
I got it.
You got the hard hat, all right? Got it put on correctly. As far as we have it on the right way, we just need to make sure that hard hat is always fairly level, front to back, left to right. So if you could, Jason, just tip that down for me a little bit.
Well, then I gotta adjust it and everything.
Yeah, well, that's why we have that ratchet adjust on the back there to make sure it is secured to your head. Now you may say, why do we want to make sure that hat is fairly level as far as our hard hat goes? And that is to make sure it doesn't fall off, that our forehead is protected for any of those objects that may potentially come in contact with your head. Also keep an eye on, do I have the right hat? And most importantly, is it expired? Because some hard hats expire and they will be inspected on the job site. Let's move down to eye protection. Again, another very important personal protective piece of equipment that we're wearing here.
I didn't know where you wanted me working, so I brought both.
Yeah, well, I think what we're going to need to do here on this beautiful sunny day, and to make sure that you're protected from the UV rays, let's go ahead and part with those clear glasses. Now, if those storms do come in tomorrow, we will be wearing clear glasses to protect our eyes versus the shaded. So again, keep those nice and secure to your face. We use the wraparound version here so we do not get anything, any objects or any debris in from the sides. And we also use those adjustable kinds. So Jason, very good job on the eyeglasses as far as safety goes. And again, there are various shades out there. Commonly, especially when we're doing night work, we issue our employees a yellow tinted safety glass because that cuts down on a lot of the glare that we sometimes receive at night off the light plants and other artificial lighting that we're required to use. Moving on to the safety vest.
Brand new, I just got it out.
Very good, because some vests out there you'll see get pretty worn, we're rubbing up against things and different things, we're washing them and we lose a lot of the reflectivity, the most important part of it all. Safety vests are all about visibility. So as you see here, Jason has the right class of safety vest on. However, what we do need to do, Jason, is make sure it's secured to our body. Versus the vest being tucked in the back there, we recommend and require that you have that vest brought to the front. This has a zipper closure, so please, if you would, zip up your vest. Now, there are different types of vests out there. Some do require the hook and loop breakaway vest. In this job site, we are required to wear the zip-up vest. Keeping it zipped will prevent us from getting it caught on maybe the handrail as we climb up a machine using always 3 points of contact. Working on down to the feet. Slips, trips, and falls, the #1 hazard on the job site. So Keep your job sites clean, keep them as level as you can for that foot traffic. Keep objects put away, out of the harm's way, out of the path, and make sure you have the proper work boots. The thick-soled, proper traction, steel-toed to protect from any objects falling on your feet and potentially causing damage. I may also add finger jewelry. I recommend that you remove finger jewelry because it can too get hooked on objects, cause damage to your finger as well as to your jewelry. So now we have literally went from head to toe, Jason. You are prepared to work. I encourage each of you out there to make sure you are properly prepared to work on your job sites, keeping you the most valuable asset on any job site, free from harm, safe, and protected from the elements.
Well, that wraps up our episode on the connection between safety and productivity. We looked at some technologies and products that can be added to machines to improve both the safety of the machine, the operator, and the surroundings, as well as improving the productivity of the machine and the operator. The case study we looked at, real live example of a customer reaping the benefits of improving their safety while maintaining and actually improving their production capabilities. The Efence demonstration showed you how quick and easily parameters can be set up on any machine to limit that work zone, to protect where it swings or where it moves, again, to improve the safety of the operator, the machine, and the job site. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.